Dawn and Mona Champagne are a married couple who live in a wealthy neighborhood in New Orleans. They have 2 lovely children, have a successful business running, and are highly respected in the society. At first glance, it appears as if they are the perfect family, but the reality is completely different. Mona is actually a dominant woman who wants everything done her way. She has made several rules in the house, which have to be followed by the children and even her husband. If they disobey, she makes sure there are consequences. Eat your broccoli or no cell phones.
What? No, Mom, you can't. What, are you crazy?
Mona has also made a goal book in which she has planned her week's routine in advance. She calculates everything so meticulously that there isn't even a minute's time to spare. One example is she has set exactly 15 minutes for the couple to have coitus at night. She has also specified the color of undergarments they have to wear for the occasion. Dawn is not allowed to get intimate with her at any other time, and this has left him feeling desperate. I'm sure there are plenty of married men in the world who would give their left nut for 15 minutes a night. As for the kids, Allison and Andrew, they must always win everything they participate in, whether it's a school competition or a friendly match with a neighbor. They have no other choice. Mona is always lurking around and making sure they are giving their best.
Rock, paper, scissors? You don't know what you've done.
As expected, Don is not happy with the situation. He doesn't have any authority over the family and can't even influence his children. We learn that he is the manager of a furniture store, which is supposed to be a big deal. However, we also learn that Mona's wealthy parents provided the funds for the store, which means that Mona is technically the owner. This is probably why Don agrees to whatever she says and doesn't have his own opinion. He may own a furniture store, but he's sure not slinging any wood. One day, the furniture store announces a vacancy for the position of a salesperson. Answering it, a beautiful young woman named Dusty shows up. Dawn is instantly smitten by her charm, and he fails to ask her the important questions regarding the job. After she departs, Dawn's other employee, Les, suggests that he hire the girl. He reasons that they need a beautiful face to divert their minds from their busy schedule. Dawn also remembers his stressful marriage, so he hires Dusty without even considering the other applications.
I'll sling some wood yet.
On the other hand, we see a shady-looking man who has just killed someone. He watches a TV advertisement of Dawn's furniture store and gets an idea. From the following day, the man starts following Dawn and his family wherever they go. Dawn is completely unaware about this, and he continues living his monotonous life. But as the days pass, he and Dusty start getting closer to one another. They also end up having coitus, which is a huge relief for Dawn. This is the first time in years he has made passionate love. He's back to slinging wood. For the next few weeks, Dawn appears to be at his happiest. He is always in a good mood, whether it be at home or work. He also starts ignoring his wife, as he has found someone more interesting than her. But, as they say, every action has its consequences. Dawn has no idea what's in store for him next. One day, Dusty approaches him with the news that she is pregnant. This freaks him out, and he suggests she abort it immediately. However, Dusty vehemently refuses, saying she wants to keep it. This leaves our guy in a very difficult situation. If his wife somehow finds out about this, he is doomed. That evening, he meets his friend Les for advice. The latter claims that women like Dusty are only after the money, so he suggests that Dawn pay her a good amount for her silence. Heeding the advice, Dawn collects $13,000 from his savings and just gives it to her the next day. "You're worth exactly this much to me." Dusty acts a bit surprised and asserts she is definitely not after money. But then she says, if that's what you really want,
I'll take it.
After she departs, Dawn feels like he has dodged a bullet and breathes a sigh of relief. Unbeknownst to him, Dusty goes to the same shady guy from earlier. His name is Murphy, and it turns out she is working for him. The gang goes after wealthy individuals and extorts money from them. In this instance, Murphy noticed Dawn's advertisement, so he researched his family for weeks. After confirming that they are wealthy, he sent his girlfriend Dusty to seduce him. The plan worked, and they have now got their money. However, Murphy is not satisfied, as he had expected more, so he orders Dusty to blackmail Dawn for more money. Say that you got him pregnant this time. Over the course of the next few days, she torments the poor guy, demanding that he pay her $25,000 in exchange for her silence. Since since Don doesn't have that kind of cash, he finally decides to reveal everything to his wife. He goes into her room, downs a few shots of whiskey, and tries to tell the truth. However, he still can't put himself together, as he is scared of the consequences. But when Mona shouts at him to speak up, he eventually discloses that he had an affair with Dusty, the store saleswoman. Surprisingly, she doesn't react much. Mona calmly opens a family photo album, and while going through its pages, she asks Don if he loves her. He nervously replies that he loves her and their children a lot. He also says that he would do anything to rectify his mistakes. In the next scene, we see that Mona has gone completely rogue. She is shouting at the top of her lungs while throwing objects around the house. As Don sits on the couch in complete silence, she reminds him of all the sacrifices she and her parents have made for him. Just then, Dusty calls Don, which he doesn't answer. She is still blackmailing him for the money. When Mona sees this, she orders her husband to accept the deal. She says that anyone who messes with her family will end up in the grave. She then gives her husband two choices: either kill Dusty and finish this drama once and for all, or she will divorce him and take custody of their children. Hearing this, Don is left shell-shocked, but he isn't in any position to make demands either, so he reluctantly agrees. The next morning, Mona helps her husband by preparing a potent drug, which will be used to incapacitate Dusty. Don has arranged for a meeting with her that evening, although he is still having second thoughts about it. Cut to that night. Dusty meets Don at his store and the two engage in a friendly conversation. He talks to her in a weird manner, but assures her that everything is fine. He then offers her the spiked drink, which she consumes without thinking much. After a while, when the drug's effects start showing, Dusty realizes that she has been betrayed. However, before she can run away from there, she collapses to the ground. After a while, Mona arrives there and orders her husband to put the body in their car's trunk. When they reach home, Don is ordered to strike the woman with a hammer, but he is too scared to do it. So, Mona takes matters into her own hands and finishes Dusty off. Dusty may have nailed her husband, but she prefers the hammer. She then takes the dead body to the garage and dismembers it bit by bit. While doing so, she doesn't show any signs of remorse or disgust. Instead, she appears to be enjoying it. Don, on the other hand, becomes so overwhelmed that he ends up puking. In the next scene, Murphy and his gang grow concerned as Dusty has been out of contact for the past few days. They suspect that Don has something to do with it, so they leave a note for him, asking him to meet them in private. They have also attached some pictures of his family, threatening to harm them if he doesn't comply. Scared, Don meets them at a bar that night. He confidently says that he gave $25,000 to Dusty when they last met. Hearing this, Murphy believes that she has run away with the money and is never coming back again. So he asks Don to compensate him with $25K more, or else he will bring harm to his family. Not knowing what to do, Don once again approaches his wife and reveals everything to her. And just like before, she appears calm, almost as if she has a plan in mind. That night, they arrive outside Murphy's house, which appears to be vacant at the moment. Don stays in his car while Mona heads inside. She then places something in the refrigerator, which turns out to be the dismembered body parts of Dusty. Just then, a gang member shows up with his girlfriend, possibly to have a romantic time, but Mona doesn't let them even begin as she brutally stabs them with a knife. In his final breaths, the gang member calls Murphy and explains what just transpired. Meanwhile, Mona leaves the house and uses a disposable phone to contact the police. She alerts them that a murder has just taken place there. In the next scene, Murphy arrives home with a friend and is shocked to see the chaos. When he opens the refrigerator, he also finds his girlfriend's body parts. This is when he realizes that he has been set up. At the same time, the cops show up outside the house and shoot his friend dead. Murphy is also about to be killed, but he somehow manages to escape by using a secret underground door. One day, a concerned Don asks his wife if she had a traumatic past. He wonders how she can be so good at killing. In response, Mona breaks down in tears and emotionally says that her parents had always treated her nicely. She then angrily claims that if Don asks her this question again, she will kill him
and mutilate him, just like she did with Dusty.
Hearing this, Don becomes terrified. From that day onwards, he starts living in constant fear and tries his best to avoid her. Another day, when a neighbor's dog enters their house, Mona angrily hands it over to its owners. She claims that she will kill the dog if it comes here again, although the owners simply laugh, thinking that it's a joke. Mona is dead serious.
I'm a stone cold bitch.
The movie then cuts to Andrew's birthday, where several guests have arrived for the party. When Don enters the kitchen to get something, he witnesses the same dog's corpse and becomes horrified. Outside, Andrew and another kid are engaged in a game, but he appears to be losing. This obviously doesn't sit well with Mona, so she says out loud that the other kid is on steroids. When the boy's mom, who is suffering from Crohn's disease, tries to intervene, Mona makes fun of her condition. The evil woman also chastises her own son, calling him a failure. She instead hugs her daughter, Allison, who appears to be her favorite child. Don witnesses all this from afar and feels bad for his son. He fears that when Allison grows up, she will end up becoming like her mother, so he decides to put an end to all of this. While everyone is distracted, Don goes to the garage, turns off the electricity, and short-circuit the lamp so that it will emit a spark when turned on. He then opens the gas valves, allowing the room to fill with gas. After a while, he calls his wife and asks her to get some beef from the garage's refrigerator. The latter obliges, and as soon as she turns on the lamp's switch, an explosion takes place, ending her life. In the final scene, we see that Don is living a happy life with his children. He has purchased a new house and even a car. With the money his wife left behind, he is now finally free of the constraints that were put into him. But as the movie ends, the gangster Murphy follows Don on his motorbike. 2 gunshots are heard during the credits, implying that someone has been killed. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.